It sound right, boy.
What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for coming back to 4 Fight Fans. This is our 5th episode, and I'm joined, as always, with Masood, our voice of reason, MJ, our Twitter correspondent, and Sam, our very own version of the bad guy. How you guys doing?
Very good.
Doing great.
Very, very, very good.
I'm Money, and thank you so much for returning to 4 Fight Fans. We're happy that you guys are coming back this week. We have a lot to talk about. We had just had the Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar fight card that's was on Fight Island, which was a bar burner and all kinds of fun. And we have a lot of news coming out from Fight Island as well. And we also have a mini card, not such a fascinating card, but a card nonetheless on Wednesday this week that's happening on Fight Island as well. So we're going to get into that. But before we get into everything, don't forget to like, subscribe, make sure you follow us on Twitter, all that good stuff. Get into the comments. Let us know what you think of the show. It helps us out a lot. Thank you so much. All right, guys. So let's get into this week's show and let's get right into the hottest topic in UFC right now, which is Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar. And this fight was already a potential nominee for Fight of the Year, which is bizarre because it's the first card of the year. And it was just that good. I'm gonna
Set
go
the bar high,
yeah, I'm gonna go straight to MJ on this one. Let him get all of his goo out and get it all out of there. MJ, what did you think of your boy Max in this fight?
I mean, I don't even know what to say. It's just wow. It's just
He's about to cry.
I mean, Sam's gonna call me super fan or all kinds of names, but I mean, I don't think anyone that knows anything about the sport or loves the sport at the moment could hate or not love Max Holloway. The guy is just on fire. As I said it 2-3 episodes ago, I said he's just too good for everyone else, right? And I think he showed that. He definitely showed that. 25 minutes of non-stop pressure, non-stop violence, and he showed his level. It's just I don't know what to say. It's like
you're lost for words at his
performance. I mean, I know he's amazing, but like
I mean that was definitely an upgrade to what we've ever seen.
I don't want people to get me wrong though. Like huge respects to Calvin Kattar. What a fighter, man. Like I mean, you're losing the fight 50-42, 50-43, some of the judges said. And the 5th round, you're still smiling. You still got a smiling face. You're still coming forward with pressure. I mean, what a warrior. What an absolute warrior. Amazing fight.
Absolutely, yeah. Masood, last week you called it out. You said that Max is going to outclass Calvin Kattar, and that's exactly what he did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man, it was unreal. Even for me, I was shocked. Even though I said that, I was still shocked at the volume that he threw at Kattar. 447 total strikes, and it was all standing. It wasn't like he was ground and pounding the guy, you know. On the ground, you can get a lot more strikes in, but that was insane. That was just something else.
I mean,
Over
like
600 strikes in total. Elbows. You know, just talking to him, talking to the commentators, saying he's the best boxer in the sport. That was insane, man. And
Spinning
hats off
kicks,
to Kattar.
elbows,
hats off
body
to Kattar.
shots.
Kattar is very tough.
Yeah,
that
fantastic competitors.
Fight.
Yeah, it was an amazing fight. Sam, what did you think?
Well, we all were agreed on the Max Holloway. We all said he's gonna have he comes with volume. And that's what he did. The only thing I was wondering was that he get caught in a counter struck or something, which he didn't. It was great. He's one of those complete fighters, right? Like he used all his weapons. So it's not like you should be only worried about his left hand or right hand. He uses everything, and it was a great fight. Calvin Kattar in the 5th round and 4th round, the fact that everyone says he's a tough motherfucker, and he was. But the main reason I respect him is that he threw some punch back too. But because he was so exhausted and he was so damaged, the punch, there was no power in it. Like if you see the 5th round and 4th round, when he was getting damaged, he also threw some which landed, but it didn't do anything because there was no power behind it. He was already exhausted. So, but the fact that you could still fire back at that point, then that's respectful, right? And Max Holloway, he's a great fighter. He's just not lucky with the scoring thing. So he this time he was good, but usually in a 50-50 situation, he's not lucky. They don't give him the decision.
Well,
That's
the
what
Volk
Last time he
fights,
did-
that was the
yeah,
case.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't
Didn't
think
wanna
we're
leave it to
going
the
back to
judges.
those fights ever again after
Yeah.
what Max did last
He's
night.
got a chin on him too. Max has got a chin
Absolutely.
on him, man.
Masood, I noticed you mentioned the statistics of how many strikes he landed. What was it again? Could you bring it up?
447 total strikes,
Mm-hmm.
445 significant strikes.
Which is a record in the UFC. Is that correct?
Yeah.
It's such a
Yeah.
brand new record.
He was
Yes, it
throwing
is,
all
yes.
the time in the fight. Like he didn't like it wasn't any second that he doesn't do anything. He was
Many,
throwing
even the
all the
commentary
time, yeah.
team was surprised that he came out so high volume because he
Yeah.
tends to start out a little slower. But like I said, I think this is a brand new Max. I think he's upgraded in every sense possible. And one of the narratives behind his whole fight was that he didn't spar in his preparation to this fight. And he was adamant that that was a very big key or a big factor for him in being so loose and being just
Yeah.
so on point.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last
in the
time he
fight.
sparred was the first Volkanovski fight.
Yeah, so even in the second Volkanovski fight, he was also very loose and he seemed like he was creating new looks, very much upgraded from the first fight.
Yeah.
But got unlucky with the decision.
He's-
But
You-
this Max that we saw last night is even more improved, has even more weapons, and looks even more deadlier and confident.
Yeah, not sparring may have helped them actually, because when you look at these experienced fighters like Max Holloway, they've done so much sparring throughout their career that at some point that they don't even need it anymore. It's just damage. It's just
they just have to
extra.
study the opponent.
Yeah, they just gotta train and listen to their coaches, and that's it. They know when they go in there, they're used to it. They're accustomed to getting hit, and they just go with the flow.
But
tunnel vision
that's not to say, for fighters who are still developing and still learning
Absolutely.
not to spar,
Absolutely.
right? It's
Definitely.
for someone at Max's stage where he's already been world champion, is already, one of the top caliber,
Yeah,
number
it's
one
not like
contender
it's not
without, question. But yeah, go on, Mr.
It's not like an amateur fighter who can just start fighting without any sparring. You need that experience. But these guys have had so much experience in sparring that at this level, even Tony Ferguson said, for a few of his fights he hasn't sparred, and he still shows up and he puts on amazing performances. So
Max
Yeah.
Holloway,
I thought that was
he's
impressive.
really a smart fighter. Like I don't remember all his fights, but like maybe I've seen 5-6 fights from him. Like you never see him do any mistake in any fight, which even some great fighters do sometimes. They have mistake in their fights, but he never has any mistake. He always sharp and he fights a smart fight. What was really amazing was that in 5th round, the way he was throwing the combination, it was like he was so fresh that it was like it was the first round, so he wasn't get tired. And I'm just gonna add this in bracket. In Joe Rogan podcast, he said that for one of his fights, when he wanted to study the fight to see how he can win this fight, he played the UFC game, PlayStation, and he based on that because the PlayStation is unique
Oh
for
yeah,
each
yeah,
fighter.
that was UFC 2 or
for
UFC
Aldo
1
fights or something.
Yeah, it was really funny. But yeah, he's a smart fighter. I wish him. I think he's one of those fighters that he needs, like, he should be in a better place than he is. Like, and I'm not saying he's in a bad place, but he deserves to be a champion or something. That was for you, Mara. Okay.
I mean, he's got time. He's only 29, and he's already. You could argue that he's already a GOAT at 29, and he's still got. I mean, if he wants to be a champ.
So did you guys check out what Khabib said about Max Holloway recently on Fight Island? They interviewed him on, maybe it was just passing by in the hallway, someone cut him up to him. And they asked him what he thought of Max Holloway's fight, and he said that Max is still like 29, 28. He's still getting into his prime, or is in his prime now, but he was, a champion when he wasn't in his prime, and he still has a lot left to give in the sport. And even Khabib said that if he continues, if he's still hungry and he continues going down this path in his prime, he will become the greatest of all time.
He could. Exactly what I'm saying.
That's as Nicolas Cage would say, that's high praise coming from Khabib. So I think the sky is the limit for that. And the one weakness that Sam alluded to, that he's saying he doesn't have doesn't have a lot of weaknesses, doesn't make many mistakes. He does tend to leave himself open. He does rely on his chin a lot, I think. He has a rock solid chin nonetheless, and probably can
I said
rely
that
on
last week too. I said last week too.
But he could definitely do better in that sense.
Well, I'm not
just
sure
nitpicking.
if that's a weakness or it's just the way he fights. I think that's inevitable, because when you're a volume fighter and the way he does it, you're bound to just leave your chin out there, like at least 1 or 2 times every fight, right? Because the way he fights, it's constant pressure, right? So there is going to be, as I said, like a couple chances for the opponent to capitalize on that, right? So it's a risky way of fighting, but he does it so great, and he dances in the middle. He's teaching Kattar how to block. Like as he's punching him, as he's dodging, and he's talking to the commentating team. Like come on, man, you just don't see that.
He was just in the zone at that moment. But when I bring up the leaving his chin exposed, is when he talked about some of the legacy fights after in his press conference. He said, "I'm more interested in some of my legacy fights than I'm interested in Volkanovski and the title." And obviously, the two people that came up were Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor, because he's fought them both. And
he lost to both of them, right?
And he lost to both. Poirier at lightweight, Conor at featherweight. But
both by decision.
Both by decision. Yeah. So I mean,
Conor was a long time ago.
Conor was definitely really a very long time ago. Even Conor wasn't really Conor then, if you want to think about it.
But if he fights the same way, leave his chin open with someone like Conor who has great timing.
Right. So I was getting to that point. Thank you for
I wanted to save your time.
At this
Go
point,
for it.
Let the Conor fans speak.
No, I'm just saying. No, that's a fact. It's not.
I mean, in his last fight, it was decision.
Yeah.
But
back then, like I said, obviously Conor wasn't Conor. Dustin wasn't really Dustin.
They were growing
early in their careers, even Max, right? But I'm saying now in the featherweight division, although I don't necessarily see any of that Conor type caliber coming up so far in the featherweight division, that they have that one punch power sort of thing. But should a contender like that rise in the division, Max would, probably need to work on that a little bit in terms of if he gets those legacy fights, or is he coming up against someone with, that kind of punching power, then he needs to improve on that point. But everything else was just so phenomenal that it's just nitpicking at this point.
Okay, you want to go to the next
before
topic?
we actually move on from the subject, I was gonna ask a question. So right after the fight, I mean, I saw this coming, but right after the fight, Volkanovski posted a tweet on Twitter, and it was a picture of their first fight, the scorecard, and he said that Max Holloway cannot pull off these numbers in front of me. So do you guys think that it's is that because of the simply because of the styles of fighting? We had to say styles make fights, or what is it? What was it? Was it just Max not being himself in front of?
Like you're asking why Max lost? Is that the question?
No. Why couldn't he pull off the same numbers he did fighting Volkanovski? Well, was it just simply because of their styles?
Of course, definitely.
Right?
I mean, Volkanovski is a higher caliber fighter, but if you look at both of the matches, compared to
the
Kattar,
second
but
fight
also
was a
if you
different
look
story.
at the matches, I'm saying in the second fight, Max improved a lot, and it was kind of controversial. It's 50-50. Half the people, most of us think that he won, I think all of us think that he won that match. So, and Dana White said actually that, you know, with the performance like that from Max, he deserves another title shot with
I
Volkanovski, a
think
third one.
I think one reason that Volkanovski won that fight. Now we're not the judge, like we don't know how they score it, but I think the way they score a fight, they give more credit to leg kick than us do.
Not just
And
leg kicks, but I
that's
guess
why,
damage, right?
because
So they
Volkanovski
call
did a lot of
yeah,
Volkanovski did a lot of leg kick, and I think that's, I don't know how they score it, but I think that's what caused him to win the fight, like the get the score basically.
They
Uh,
also
yeah,
give more credit to the champion. They want to see the you know,
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
person
I
who's
agree with you on
challenging,
that.
the person who's challenged, the fighter who's challenging, you know, the champion to put on a hell of a performance.
to
We've
like
had
take the belt. Yeah.
yeah, we've had you know, controversial decisions in the past. GSP versus Hendricks. You know, even
Yeah.
Dana
John
White said
Jones.
exactly. John
Yeah.
Jones versus Reyes. Dana White said that he thought GSP lost that fight. You know, but you know, I feel like they really want to see somebody dominate, you know, the champion, or you know, they don't
Yeah.
want, yeah, they don't want it to be you know, left to the judges.
Yeah. 50-50 usually goes to the champion.
Usually, yeah, that's, I
Yeah.
guess that's the
I would tend to agree with that, though.
No,
I think that would be a fair way of judging.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
what
like if
history shows,
it's
so.
it's the case of, I think Izzy said it after that Yoel Romero fight. It's like, if you want to, this is my belt. If you want to get it, you got to show me that you want it more than I do. So
You just have to bring up Izzy,
exactly.
right? Any
You have
chance
to,
you get, huh?
I never forget
you
that
have to
fight.
prove that you're a champ.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
We watched it
and the way
together.
and the way you finish the fight, I think, is important too.
Yeah,
Like the
definitely.
last two rounds, the championship rounds. That's why they call
Exactly.
it
Yeah.
that.
Who's on top at the end? Yeah, definitely.
People,
definitely.
people like some people have different approach. So, anyway, I think to fix this, like to just have a better result, maybe it's better to have 5 judge instead of 3 judge.
Yeah.
That could be a
And
solution.
Speaking of judges, let's move on to the co-main event where
Yeah.
Matt Brown versus Carlos Condit. Carlos won by a unanimous decision,
Yeah.
30-27 over Matt Brown. Now, the stats on this fight, I did look them up after the fight, and you can see why the judges gave it to Carlos in the first round as well, because he was very active off of his back. Although I don't know how they go about judging these things when one person is on top control, but the bottom person is landing more shots. So I personally not sure how they go about judging that, whether it's different commissions, whether it's based on the judge themselves.
Yeah.
But I thought that Matt Brown probably deserved to win the first round, won the first round. And then Carlos won the second and third.
Yeah.
More convincingly.
It's a split decision, not unanimous, but
No, not a split. I don't think
honestly, I thought
it was a 29-28 to Carlos.
yeah, I thought Carlos. I thought it was you know.
But I mean, in the whole grand
Nah, it was
scheme of
decision
things, not a
Carlos.
big
Doesn't-
deal.
yeah.
Just Matt Brown was a little bummed at that. But I don't know how. I mean, you're just clutching at straws there, just like hanging on to like 1 point on a losing scorecard. Who cares?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But the
Well,
thing
I mean-
is, go ahead.
Go for it, go for it. Yeah, I was just gonna say, these guys with the whole history, and they go way back, right? So I guess the way
For
he
bragging
looks at
rights.
it is yeah, exactly, right? The way he looks at it is different, is like exactly,
Yeah.
you said it best.
Bragging rights, yeah.
Yeah.
But Carlos Condit looked amazing. Yeah.
yeah.
Mesut?
He had a see in the first round. Carlos Condit was in the closed guard. He was in the bottom, but he had some control because he could have pulled off,
Submission.
submission or something. So actually, he's not in a very bad position. If he was mounted or had his back, or Matt had his back, it would have been probably Matt's round. But he had him in close guard and he was working. He was throwing shots at him, throwing volume. Matt barely threw anything, maybe 5-10 shots maximum that round from the ground, So
Yeah.
I could see how judges might give it to Carlos Condit. So
Yeah, I thought it was
that's my take.
fair enough. Yeah.
And what a beautiful wrestling takedown by Carlos Condit in the second
Yeah.
round. That was impressive.
Yeah.
Matt Brown too. It was I was impressed with both of them, wrestling, grappling. It was.
Yeah.
Well,
None of them were ready to give up. You know,
I thought Matt Brown kind of
until
tired
the last
himself
second.
a little bit in the
yeah,
first
Yeah.
yeah,
round.
he did. I
Who,
was gonna
Matt
say
Brown?
that he did.
Matt
He
Brown
did
tired
tired.
himself a little in the
Yeah.
Gassed
first
out
round.
in
They were-
third round, like completely.
Well,
he was
They
gassed
were
out.
I don't know
both
if you guys
expect.
booked this, but as he went for the takedown, he got the first takedown of the fight.
Oh, he caught his face.
He cut his forehead on the fence, so
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
kind of unlucky.
I probably swayed the judges a little too.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna
Yeah.
say. Maybe that's why he lost the first round, because they thought that's the damage from, because the first 2 minutes before the takedown, Carlos was actually applying some damages on him. So they thought maybe, you know, that's where the cut is from, but it was from the fence. So
But I think the referee is responsible for indicating to the judges where cuts originate from. Like I noticed the refs, you know, point to the corners and say, you know, this was from an elbow, you know, or like this from, you know, a cut or on the wrist or whatever, like something like that.
Mhm.
So I don't know if the referee booked it or not, whether it was from the fence. Obviously, the whole commentating team booked it, but
yeah, I think they might have got it. Yeah.
if they did, then they probably tell the judges, and shouldn't affect anything.
By end of the day, in point of scoring, it's damage, position, and pressure. And three judges, they might have different idea. Like maybe you choose position over damage, and you say because that guy was.
Well, that
I don't
would go
care how much damage
against
he got from that.
MMA
So-
unified rules, though, wouldn't it? If you prioritize one over the other, you shouldn't. There's an order.
Depends. It depends. I think damage is really important.
Well,
I think
yeah, of
damage
course,
is
it
really
has to be
important. If you're
significant strikes
pressuring
first.
someone, and you're just pressuring, but you're getting damage too, I think if you're pressuring and you're getting damage, I don't think that matters. Like your pressure doesn't matter that much.
Yeah, of course not.
No,
Why would it matter? It's about how much damage you deal in the first place.
Yeah.
All
Which
right. Well,
is-
considering damage and not leaving it to the judges' decisions was every other fight on this card, which all ended up in TKOs or KOs and TKOs. Let's go down the list. First one was Santiago Ponzinibbio. Oof, that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Versus
Argentine.
Li Jingliang. And everybody was backing Santiago Ponzinibbio to come out and kind of pick up where he left off, which
Yeah.
was in a very dominant position, 7-fight win streak in the welterweight division. You know, looking good, has a big frame, looking strong, deadly, but had a 2-year layoff. In that 2-year layoff, he got sick. He got some sort of like autoimmune bacterial problem that's like rough in the body. And so he just came back from that whole 2-year like layoff, and he could tell that this guy did not look the same as he did before. I mean, granted, I didn't see a lot of him before, but you can tell that he was hesitant to strike. He was slow, if anything, and yeah, the ring rust, as they say, definitely showed.
And
Yeah,
he-
man. Apparently last year, 2020, this guy was in really bad condition. He barely escaped death,
Yeah.
as they say. So after I heard that, I'm like, you know, like he has all. I mean, I don't know if
Sorry, just cut
he-
you off. MJ, your sound cut off for a second there. What did you
Oh.
say? Just repeat yourself.
Do you have me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just saying this guy barely escaped death in 2020, and to come back and fight, I'm pretty sure, you know, his team. There's doctors, there's coaches that know better than me and you how to advise this guy. But I don't know if he rushed into it coming back, and he wasn't 100% fit. Or
Some
I don't
of
know.
his doctors
Yeah.
apparently said that he shouldn't fight again.
Well, there you go.
So
That's
but
what I thought.
but he didn't lose because he got tired or something like that. He left the chin open, and it was a great hook by Lee. It was
Yeah.
Well, no, if you're not fit,
was
you're not fit,
awesome.
right? So
it was right from the guard, and it was really cool for someone like, because like these fighters, they're not like the greatest, right? So you don't expect. I didn't expect that kind of hook. It was amazing. Like,
Yeah, well, Lee really needed that, as Dana
Yeah.
said. He said that he really needed that
He's a
win.
good
He
fighter. He's a
really
really
needed
good fighter.
that knockout, and just to show himself, because it seemed as though, and as we are all talking about Santiago before and after the fight, where Lee deserves a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, let's not
Yeah.
underestimate Lee. He's a good
Oh
fighter.
yeah, he had some
He's
great
had
wins.
great performances in the UFC. He's
Yeah, man, the leash,
fight.
definitely.
Yeah, but it probably would have been a more competitive fight if it wasn't for the layoff or the injuries but it's unfortunate. But it was a great fight. Third
Yeah,
knockout of the year.
his last fight, he lost to Neil Magny. Tomorrow's, I'm sorry, Wednesday's main event.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and he
Lee?
said that it wasn't. Yeah,
Yeah, he wasn't himself. He didn't have
and
a
he,
good
yeah,
performance.
yeah. You look great. You look great on Saturday.
Yeah, and Neil Magny is a hard person to have a good performance against, I gotta say. He is.
Yeah.
We'll get into him a little bit later. So let's move on to the second knockout of the year, which was an upset, a big upset, which was Joaquin Buckley versus Alessio Di Chirico.
Yeah, no one expected that.
Chirico.
Yeah, no one expected that.
And
Yeah.
nobody expected that. Everybody thought Buckley was going to go out there and kind of like pick up where he
especially,
left off.
especially getting knocked out by kick. You didn't expect that because Buckley knocked out the other guy by kick last time. So
Yeah, although it was a very unorthodox kick, to be fair,
know,
this one
I
was much more technical, and he saw him coming in. He's like, "You're gonna pressure me. You're gonna keep pressuring me. I'm gonna hit you when you least expect it." And that's exactly what he did. And Buckley kept his guard open, just like he did against Holland back in 2020.
Yeah.
And
that was also his first fight in 2020.
he got knocked out.
Maybe he'll do better.
Yeah,
he
but I mean,
in January.
after that knockout that he had, Buckley, I'm talking about, after that knockout that he had, he will always have or carry some star power, regardless of this result, especially after how Alessio handled the whole situation after. It was kind of like a Debbie Downer about it and just like complaining about how he'd never get to speak last time he lost, and they should interview both fighters because it takes both fighters. Great sentiment, don't get me wrong, great sentiment, a great idea, but he was very just too upset about the fact that he wasn't taken seriously or something like that, or people didn't know how to respond to him in that situation. And I think that's what happened. Dana in his press conference afterwards was like, what was wrong with that guy? He won. His team was all sad and like in the corner, and yeah, so I felt bad for him because he got a tremendous win, yet it got a little shine taken off of it due to what happened afterwards.
Yeah, okay.
I like his vibe though. I like his vibe. He's like a really serious, respectful guy, and the way he talks. I mean, he looks like the young Robert De Niro.
Oh my
And
god!
I swear to God, the way he talks, he reminded me of The Godfather. He's like,
well, he is Italian, you racist.
Yeah,
but
that's exactly, the way he talks, the way he carries himself is like,
He's
come to me on the first fight night of 2021.
Yeah, maybe he should have went with that kind of personality a bit more rather than a negative one. I don't know.
Anyway, let's go to next topic, guys.
Masood, did you have anything to add to the Buckley?
No, that was a great fight, man. I mean, it's unfortunate. He kept his hands low,
He paid the price.
Yeah, he paid the price. He thought I think he was looking at a finish.
Yeah.
Buckley was looking for another, knockout finish, and you got to fight smart at this level if you want to go to the next level, and
And he was changing level. He was really he was really low, so that's why that kick landed on his head.
Yeah, that made no sense to me. Like he kept going for those body.
We don't know what was on his mind. Maybe
well,
he wanted to do a move or something, but like his position cost him to get a kick.
He is a relatively small middleweight.
Yeah, and he's young too, so I mean, he's got to fight. I think he's gonna be a learning lesson for him.
He's
got
just
to
so
fight a bit
jacked
smarter. Yeah,
that he can't make welterweight.
Yeah, you don't have too many chances to learn lessons.
But
Yeah.
we'll
He's
see him
young.
back
He's
in the UFC
yeah.
for sure, and we're
He's
gonna
fresh.
see a
You don't know
lot.
that though. That's the thing. He said it in one of his interviews before right after that famous kick, the famous KO, because he lost the fight before that. Not sure if he lost to Holland or it was
Yeah,
the
it was
fight
Holland.
before that. Holland, yeah. And he's like, I just had a new baby, and I was thinking of actually changing careers. You know, I was thinking of quitting UFC, MMA, altogether because he lost a few fights, and he's like, maybe this is not for me. This is not the best thing for my family, for my future. And then he goes on and gets that crazy KO, and he gets all this fame, all this hype. He gets the reward, you know, and he decides to stay back in it. But I don't know. Maybe one or two other losses, and that's it for him, because he
Okay.
was thinking of quitting. So
Yeah, but I think
No
after
idea.
that whole knockout, and like the 50K bonuses and like
his
his
stock
last
definitely
fight
raised,
and
but
all that stuff, yeah, I
yeah.
think he's not thinking like that.
Maybe I don't know, but I saw that coming though. I was like, maybe you know, there's a 50% chance that you know he's just super hyped and he could lose this fight.
I saw that coming. I just didn't see it coming against this guy. That's all. Because Chirico, he's been losing like nonstop. So yeah. Well, he really needed that win. Hopefully, he gets to stay in the UFC because of it. Anyways, let's move on to the first knockout of the year, which was also kind of an upset, even for us, because we were backing Dusko Todorovic to go out there and get the business done. But Soriano, I can't pronounce Punahele. I cannot
Punahele, yeah,
Punahele
Punahele,
Soriano,
yeah.
and both fighters were
Hawaii.
undefeated, so
He's from
someone's
Hawaii
flow
too, right?
had to
Yep.
go.
As Max said, the fight card started with Hawaii and ended with Hawaii.
Is he? Are they on the same team? They probably are, right?
I'm not sure.
Not sure. It could be.
We'll check later. Yeah.
I don't think Max has a team anymore, man. I don't think
He's an individual.
he doesn't go
Yeah.
to regular gyms and stuff. People
Yeah.
work for him.
No,
Yeah.
it's,
Anyways, so
goes to the
Todorovic
gods.
was
Strange.
we thought based on his last performance that he was gonna come in there and tear it up because he
Yeah.
seemed like a tough fighter. But Soriano looked so much more technically sound or aware of his pressure, and you know caught him right and caught him many times. And Dusko was tough to tough it out, but he kept getting forward and keep getting knocked back.
Yeah, Dusko started off well in the round, and then we all noticed he had his hands down and he was moving his head around. You know,
And the
these
first time
fighters-
he got a stunt, then I knew he's gonna lose a fight because
yeah, he got stunned. He got dropped.
Yeah, he got dropped two, 3 times, I guess.
Yeah,
Well,
these younger
but,
fighters, you know, they're still learning. They got to keep their hands up, man. You got to keep your hands up no matter what you do.
yeah, no matter how good you are at like
Yeah.
blocking and like dodging and rolling your head and stuff, you know, you're gonna get
All it takes is one
caught.
shot. The middleweight, you know, you get clipped once.
Anderson Silva-esque, right?
Yeah, he was a middleweight too.
But Soriano raises his stocks, gets to stay undefeated now. Got a big win over a good.
What a performance by
competitive
him, though.
What's
fighter.
his rank right now?
He's not ranked.
I don't think either of them were ranked. It was
Neither
their
were
second
ranked.
it was a second fight in the UFC.
Yeah. All right, so let's just briefly discuss one of the prelim cards because we talked about refereeing a little bit on the show. We're gonna go over it a little bit. Was Justin Tafa, I believe is his name, versus Carlos Felipe, and great fight. It was one of those phone booth fights where they're just going at it nonstop. A fun heavyweight fight, that's for sure. But based on the statistics, the decision made no sense. So the totals, so Justin Tafa landed a total strikes of 109 strikes versus Carlos Felipe's 77. And
I think I lost you guys for a second.
yeah, you're
You guys
good
just
though.
switched. Yeah.
Yeah, you're good though. We're good.
Okay.
Yeah, and the significant strikes were everything was better. The percentage was better. Everything was better. Yet he got a unanimous decision win. Carlos Felipe. What do you think about this, Mr.?
I mean, man, I was very upset by that. I don't know. Maybe the judges took a break. They didn't watch the fight.
Possibly.
He clearly won that fight. Justin Tafa, first round and third round, he was out striking Carlos Felipe, throwing calf kicks, leg kicks, throwing volume at him, had him against the cage. He was eye poked twice, and right after he got eye poked, actually, that's when Carlos Felipe had that flurry, and I think that's why they give the second round to him. I think he got the second round, but I thought it was a decision victory for Justin Tafa. 109 strikes versus 77. 86 significant strikes versus 77. Though I thought that was a robbery, 100%.
The only logical explanation would be that if they're just going by damage, they're like, okay, maybe he landed less strikes, but somehow kind of, I don't know, did more damage.
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it makes no sense.
It happens a lot in the boxing. What Mehrad MJ just said, it happens a lot in the boxing that you see this guy landed 200 jab, but just because he got hit by 4 or 5 really heavy hook or something, hook or overhand, that's why it goes to draw. The last Canelo fight was like that. Like, I don't know if you guys see that fight, the boxing fight.
Last Canelo fight?
What?
The last one, it went to draw.
No, Canelo had another fight after with a British guy. And
okay, sorry, no, the one before that. No, the one before that. I'm saying the one that it went to draw. Like, it was a rematch between them. It was Canelo and the other guy. I forgot his name.
Triple G?
Yeah.
That was like 4 or 5 fights ago, bro.
Yeah, not last week, but yeah. I remember that fight. That's why
Sam, our boxing correspondent, bringing you the latest in boxing.
Canelo is very active.
We should move on.
Canelo fights every few months. Anyways, let's move on.
So Khabib had his meeting with Uncle Dana and Yas Island, and it's just them going into a room, closing the door. It's kind of weird.
As soon as Khabib went inside, Dana closed the door. He didn't want anyone to get inside.
So they were sitting. Apparently, the meeting was supposed to take 5 minutes, and it probably did take 5 minutes. Yet they don't have an answer. So
they have another meeting.
Dana came out and said what we talked about was that Khabib doesn't want to hold up to the division, but he still has that competitive interest if someone shows him something special in the lightweight division. And he talked about how he's already impressed by Oliveira, given his recent fight against Tony Ferguson. And he's looking forward to the fights this weekend between Conor, Dustin, Hooker, and Chandler, and to see if any of them, rank or otherwise, impresses him, and he gets to call out his shot if he wants to, or if none of them impress him, give up the title and leave. So that leaves everyone in an interesting position because it raises the stakes a bit more for next weekend.
I think if Khabib, most likely this won't happen, but if Khabib fights Oliveira and he wins that fight, then he's for sure the greatest of all time, because that's the only style of fight that he didn't fight yet. So like some people that they want to say like who can win against Khabib, the only thing that they think of is that a great jiu-jitsu guy. So if he gets to fight Oliveira and he wins that fight, then it's done. So but in point of what his meeting was with Dana, I think, like, we were not there, but I think Khabib, I remember once GSP said that if I go to a fight and I underestimate my guy, it's really dangerous for me. And that's the same thing for Khabib. So he's saying, I'm waiting for something really interesting that motivates me to come back, because if he doesn't find someone really as a challenge, then he won't come. Why would he come? He's looking for a real challenge, right? Now you have Conor over there, which is a great money fight, but I think Oliveira is more of a challenge for him. And we don't know what's going to happen, but that comes down to those two. Most likely he's going to fight Conor, because there's more people waiting for that fight. GSP won't happen for sure. Forget that, but there's more people waiting for that fight. So most likely, I don't know when, but most likely if Conor beats Dustin, then then they get to fight each other.
I think if he's only looking for someone to impress him, just give him Max Holloway.
He's a different. He's
I
145.
mean, Max said it himself. He's like, I'm gonna stay in Fight Island for till next week. If one of them cancels, I'm in. So he already offered to fight Khabib.
Do you like Max's chances against Khabib though?
No.
I want to watch. I want to see that fight. I mean,
Would you?
Like,
Would you want to see that fight?
No way.
why not? I mean, two of the greatest
just to
fighting.
see Max get mauled?
Yeah.
I don't know if that. I mean,
Khabib
sure,
stands
Max.
at 200 pounds, man. Like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
this guy, like, he's
Exactly.
unless he
big.
goes to featherweight, then that would be a bit more.
Khabib can fight at
Khabib-
165 easy.
Khabib will ragdoll him.
Who?
Oh,
Holloway?
Masoud is gone.
Masoud
Yeah,
gets
yeah.
disconnected.
Khabib
he's
will
back.
ragdoll
yeah.
Holloway easily. It's just so easy you can't even imagine. The thing is,
I don't
if-
know.
if-
I
just
think it's
saying.
just a conversation for science fiction. And Max was just on a high, man. After that fight, he was on a high. He's like, give me anybody, give me McGregor, give me Dustin. Even Dana laughed at it. Like,
Yeah.
let him go breathe it
Well,
off.
I mean, they were set to fight at one time. But it just didn't happen.
Yeah, but Dana
they were
said that
actually
he does
going to
not
fight.
want Max at
at
lightweight.
155, yeah.
He doesn't want it at lightweight, and I understand why. He just has too many people. At
It makes
lightweight.
sense. It makes sense.
It's just too many people. You don't want another guy giving you a headache
No, I
at
don't think Max
lightweight.
is gonna do that either. He's gonna.
He's got
stay
his
at
own thing to
featherweight.
do at
Yeah,
featherweight,
yeah.
though. You know.
He's gonna be defending that belt for years to come. So he's gonna be busy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see.
Once again.
Basically,
Masoud, what do you think?
basically what Khabib said, I think, is we'll see what happens.
Exactly.
You know,
That's it.
That's what
Yeah.
he said. I don't think we should make a big deal out of it. You know, we don't know who he's gonna get, if he's gonna come back. He might come back, but basically he said we'll see what happens.
But if I'm not mistaken, Dana said Dana said right after Conor and Dustin fight, I'm gonna have another meeting with him, and the final answer will be there. So,
Yeah, apparently they're sort of like saying like, oh, it's not gonna take long. That like it's just a week delay in the decision and stuff because Khabib doesn't want to hold up the division. So yeah, it's possible that right after the Conor fights and stuff, will come out with and say something, but I doubt it. I still doubt it. There's still gonna be a maybe up until then. We'll see. We'll see how Conor and stuff perform, but. I'm surprised that Sam, you're saying that Oliveira poses the greatest challenge to Khabib and not Conor because Khabib's coach came and said that the greatest threat to our style is Conor's punching power. And considering Conor is improving and is set to come out and display something next in his fight in terms of how he's risen his game and how he's like a better, more complete MMA fighter. So should that not pose a
I will explain to you why I say that. Conor, we have to see, first of all, we have to see how Conor does against Dustin, right? We don't know yet. But if before Conor gets to have a rematch with Khabib, he would go through fighters that they are more of a grappler or fighters that they want to take you down or something like that, I would give him more chance. The thing is, we don't know now, right? And considering the fact that they already fought once and Khabib won that fight, I'm just saying, like, when you look at all the styles that Khabib fought, the only style that is missing is a really perfect jiu-jitsu guy. Now, he might even smash Oliveira too, most likely. But I'm just saying that's the only thing in the bucket list, right? Now, Conor can be dangerous. It's not that he cannot be dangerous. He can be dangerous for sure. But some people underestimate that. But you not fighting for 2 years, that's even though I think Conor is a great fighter, but you don't fight for 2 years. That's a really long time, man. Especially in a 155 division when when you're fighting with the greatest, right? And his last fight was with Conor, or was with Cowboy. So that's why I'm saying, if his last fight was against something like kind of a bigger name compared to Cowboy, and he does really good against Dustin, and he doesn't let Dustin take him down or something like that, then I would say Conor is the greatest challenge. We don't know yet. But yeah, Javier Mendez said so far Conor was the all the fights he had, Conor was the greatest challenger, which it was. But like we have to see, right?
Yeah, Connor and Khabib fight. The reason why I asked that is that I feel or I see a difference in Connor for a little bit. The first time they fought, there was a whole lot of other things going on outside the
Okay,
fight.
difference in commitment or skills?
Both. Why not?
I think
both?
commitment. I think it's skills.
Both, because I see a new maturity to Connor, something that I think he may have
Yeah.
lacked before.
Yeah.
This maturity, being a father, being a businessman, being, all this kind of all other things that has made him a bit more centered, a bit more relaxed, a bit less erratic, I feel, can make him a better MMA fighter, I think. I think so. I don't know.
I think he already
so.
has, and he showed it that
Against
Cerrone
Cowboy,
fight.
I don't know.
for
Maybe
sure.
I think he's even grown even more since then with this whole
Mhm.
pandemic, not getting fights, having a child, all that stuff with like the conviction in the islands and all that stuff.
Money. The thing is one thing you have to consider is that Connor's last performance was amazing, right? But the thing is,
It was
he
at
fought-
170.
Yeah, but the thing is, like I would give Conor more chance if I would see him in his last fight and the upcoming fight. If I would see him in a challenging situation, you know what I mean? He broke
Well,
Cabo
we're
for
about
sure,
to see
right?
him.
But we have to see if Conor gets into a situation that is a bit challenging position wise or whatever you want to say. We have to see how he does because
It's been-
because there's no way, there's no one can ever beat Khabib like that, like the way Cowboy got beat. You know what I mean? It's not like you can go and just punch him, and like the fight with Khabib is a war. It's a challenge in it. No matter if you're a greatest stand-up or whoever you are. So I'm just saying that I rather to see Conor in a more challenging situation and see how his outcome, and then you can say how much of a better chance he has.
Well, there isn't many people at lightweight that compare to Khabib, like that we can see him against. Like, who are we gonna see him against?
Yeah,
His cousin Islam? Come on.
no.
What were you gonna say about Seth Masood?
Yeah, I was gonna add to what someone said. I mean, Connor has only been really challenged in 2 or 3 fights. I think in featherweight against Chad Mendes, he was challenged. Against Nate Diaz, second fight, he was challenged and he won. But pretty much the rest of his fights, the ones that he won, I mean, pretty much his other fights, he just dominated. I think he needs that challenge. He needs.
So if he goes out there and dominates Dustin, does it put him back on the map?
For a rematch against Khabib?
Yeah.
I mean,
okay, I think
I guess
okay,
Dominate
that's
Dustin
basically-
just like his Mystic Mac prediction, 60 seconds.
Yeah, well, that's basically what Khabib said. Is like if I want to be
Yeah,
impressed,
if he
right?
sticks
So-
to
so
his word,
if
he'll be
he
impressed.
impresses,
yeah,
but
if
but
he's impressed, yeah.
but even if he impresses, like you still got Oliveira, who's rightfully the next contender for the belt, and you can't just skip past that guy because Conor impressed.
That's
I
what
think
Connor wants. He
will
wants
go
that
for him.
rematch.
belt.
Yeah.
Conor will go for interim belt, and then Khabib will come. If Conor beats Dustin, that's basically I think what Khabib wants to do. Khabib wants someone to get the interim belt, and then Khabib fights that guy. So
That
I
wouldn't
don't
be
think
fair,
so.
man. That
I
wouldn't
don't
be
think
fair.
Khabib
Yeah,
wants
it
to
wouldn't
hold
make
up the
it-
division like that. I don't think he
Yeah, it
wants
wouldn't
the
make
interim
sense,
stuff.
man. How many interim belts do we have in this division? Like, this is gonna if they
Look
give
at
him another
Tony's
one.
shelf.
Justin,
Yeah, it'd be like in the a fourth interim belt. Come on, it wouldn't.
Yeah,
be
no, I don't
okay,
think they
but
want
what
to
you
do an
gonna do?
interim.
But what you gonna do against Oliveira? Like you cannot dismiss Oliveira too at the same
Yeah,
time.
but
So
it's gonna be
the
Khabib's
best
decision. It's just gonna be Khabib's decision. Next weekend or whenever he decides, it's gonna be like either I want Oliveira or I want Conor.
Yeah,
That's it.
and Oliveira's team.
And then Dana will do it, and then Oliveira either is gonna get shafted or not.
I think Khabib is a man of honor, and he will fight with Conor again, but just not that easily. So because it's
We'll
not
see.
fair to it's
That
not fair
Mystic
to
Mac
Oliveira.
prediction's got to come true.
No, he won't. I don't know if he can knock Dustin down in first round. I don't know.
He might.
He might.
I actually think he will. I think he's gonna stick true to his Mystic Mac.
Okay,
prediction.
here is the thing.
Let's not get into that fight too much though,
Okay,
because
we
we're
want to
gonna
talk
do a
about later.
preview of that on Thursday. So check
Just
out that.
teasing for tonight.
Yeah, let's move on to just to briefly talk about the fight card that's gonna be happening on Wednesday this week. It starts at 9 a.m. Eastern time. So if you're up for it, you can watch it. The main event does start at 12 p.m. So for you people that like to sleep till noon, you can watch the main card after that.
I think it's the first time we're gonna have morning coffee instead of beer watching the fight.
Yeah, it's very much possible. Now, this fight is definitely doesn't have the name power or star power by any means, but usually these cards tend to become really interesting because everybody wants to prove themselves, wants to make a name for themselves, and it's
FTG.
Fight Island. It's the biggest stage. There's fans. It's international scene. All the international fighters that don't get a chance every week in the Apex get a chance now. So we're gonna see a lot of good fights, I think. The main event is between Neil Magny and Michael Chiesa. Both fighters I am not a big fan of, to be fair. Both their personalities and their style of fighting, but that's just me. Michael Chiesa is, they're both good grapplers, very good on the ground. I would give the edge to Magny in terms of striking, but it's an interesting
Why don't you
fight.
like Neil Magny? What's
Neil
wrong with
Magny.
Yeah, you said like both their personalities.
It's just his taste.
Yeah, it's just my taste more so,
okay.
but he has a very good style. Don't get me wrong. It's a very pragmatic style. And
I mean, he's not much of a fan favorite, but
where he's just strong in every sense, or like solid in every field, but not spectacular in any one. So that's great. I mean, I respect that. It's just not a fan favorite kind of style.
Sure.
But in terms of pragmatism and winning ability, Magny's got it all. And I think tomorrow is going to be too much for Chiesa because Chiesa's coming off of a long layoff, coming off of a knee injury, both knee injuries, I think, both of his knees. So I don't know how it's going to go for Chiesa.
Yeah. Most of the time, when people get really bad knee injury, they cannot really fight good anymore. So I don't know. I don't think Michael Chiesa can win this fight, but who knows?
I mean, nonetheless, both of them had some great previous performances.
Michael Chiesa, when you look at his his fighting record and who's he's fought in the past, so I don't know, 5-6 years or so, he's fought some good guys, like really tough top contenders. And he's gotten through a lot of people. RDA comes to mind, all of these guys. And Jim Miller, I think, is another one that he beat. So he's beaten a lot of good guys. Same with Magny, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
Magny's been on a sort of a rise recently. And he's beaten some people. And that the reason why they're so basically they don't want Hamza to face Neil Magny is because Neil Magny has every tool in the tool shed to beat anyone, really, not just Hamzat or just any style. He's like a style canceller, if you will. I don't know, that's not a word.
Yeah, I think you said it best. He's nothing special, but he's solid for sure.
But that makes it special in itself, I think.
Yeah,
the fact
I mean,
that he's
like
just so well-rounded.
Yeah, if you could go to a fight, keep a level head, and just do everything right, sure, you're gonna make it difficult for the other guy to, score points, like dominate you or whatever, right?
And we know what style Chiesa is gonna bring. It's just gonna be pure grappling, as he always does.
Yeah.
So I think Magny can cancel that. You say he's a style canceller. I think it's gonna be a grappling match between the two. And I got Magny as well. I got Magny taking this one.
Yeah, I mean,
We all
Michael
say Magny.
Chiesa has to pretty much pull something out of the bag in terms of a submission, in terms of grappling, because if the fight goes anywhere else, I don't see him coming out on top.
Yeah.
And even in the ground or grappling exchanges, Magny is not a pushover in a submission sense either. And it's like he knows what he's doing. He's had submission wins, and he's not a pushover in terms of a jiu-jitsu thing either. And he's got good wrestling. So I don't know. Masood, would you compare Magny's style to GSP a little bit?
Maybe, yeah. He's well rounded, but I would say GSP is definitely on a different caliber, but they definitely have the same style. You know.
Yeah, I think it's a very similar style in terms of just hard work, pragmatism, just doing the really simple things right and doing them well.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, different caliber for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, this Wednesday's fight card is coming up. It's going to be an early one. Tune in for that. I don't think this one is going to be on ABC anymore. I think that was just a one-time thing for now until we get some further news. And yeah, you guys have any final notes to add for the Magny Chiesa?
Did we talk about Max Holloway and how great he is? I think
it's getting a little lame now. Even Max would probably be like, cool it there,
slow
buddy.
Down, slow down. Yeah. No, I don't think it's coming off.
Max Holloway does a lot of video game streaming on Twitch.
Call of Duty all day.
We're looking to hopefully move 4-5 fans onto Twitch at some point. But should we do that? Although Max said that when he's on Twitch and playing video games, he wants nothing to do with MMA or fighting. He wants to talk about video games and gaming only. So if you're such a super fan, Mara, you should probably go on Twitch and chat with him.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Ask him about
play Warzone together.
Yeah, I'm not the greatest. I'm not the greatest when it comes to Call of Duty. So
yeah, maybe not Warzone.
I don't want to let him down.
Yeah, maybe not Warzone.
Yeah.
Anyway, just to finish it up, Money. The one reason I said there will be an interim belt is because Dana said Conor is gonna fight 2-3 times this year. And just knowing where Conor is coming from, which he's only coming for the rematch, I think before he gets the chance to have a rematch with Khabib, there will be one more fight. Other than the upcoming fight, there will be one more fight, and most likely that one will be for interim champion.
Maybe it could be. I just don't see Khabib holding up the division. I think he's going to just give up the belt, vacate the belt if he's not interested. Or if he's interested, he's gonna, string everybody along like he has, and we'll see what happens. But you're right, Conor will fight several times this year. He's even committed to that. Conor is committed to that, and even Conor said that even if these fights aren't for belts or anything, he's still interested in fighting 2-3 times this year because he wants to be active. He wants to get back into it.
Yeah, I just really hope Conor doesn't go back to, I don't know, boxing and shit like that. I hate that shit. Seriously. I
don't think so. I don't think the UFC will like that, but we'll see.
Well, yeah. Manny Pacquiao is still in the talk, so
don't even talk about. Why would you even bring it up? Like, no, that shit's not gonna happen.
Yeah, we'll see. Fans coming back little by little, maybe. Anyways, before we wrap up this week's show, I'd like to give out 2 shout-outs to our friends, Masood, Nima. Happy birthday to you guys. Today is their birthday. Just happy birthday to you guys.
Birthday, boys.
Hope you guys are having a good time. Hopefully you guys are watching this. And that's it from us this week. Thank you so much for
follow us
in.
on Twitter.
Follow us on
Twitter. Ask us your questions.
Subscribe.
Tell us what topics you want to see covered on the show. How we can improve, how we can do better. All that good stuff. Give us a like. It helps us out so much.
Give us that like.
You're subscribed.
You go to Instagram, you put the like on all those chicks pictures. So just put one here. Don't be lazy, okay?
Sure, it doesn't hurt.
Whatever.
That's right. You guys give us the love. Thank you so much. And we're out for tonight. So see you on Thursday. Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.